In 12 years of airport security, Agent Mike Rodriguez thought he had seen every kind of passport, but this one froze him cold. Instead of stamps from Paris or Mexico City, its pages carried classified seals, war zone coordinates, and codes. No civilian should ever hold, the woman handing it over. Just another tired traveler, blending into the crowd with worn clothes and a squeaky suitcase. Or so it seemed. But Mike has been working airport security for 12 years and something about the way she moves catches his attention. Not nervous like most passengers, not hurried like business travelers. She walks with purpose, but there's something else. A calculated awareness of her surroundings that seems almost automatic. Still, she fits the profile of every exhausted college student or young professional he sees daily. When she reaches his station, she hands over her documents with a polite smile. Standard procedure. He glances at her driver's license first. The name reads Sarah Michelle Chen, 28 years old. Address in Portland, Oregon. Everything appears normal. Her boarding pass shows she's flying to Frankfurt, Germany. Business class, which surprises him slightly given her casual appearance, but people save up for upgrades all the time. Mike opens her passport to check the photo against her face and begins flipping through the pages for available space to stamp her departure. That's when everything changes. The first page he sees doesn't contain the typical tourist stamps from London, Paris, or Mexico City. Instead, there's an official seal he's never encountered in his 12 years of service. It's embossed with what appears to be a classified security designation, accompanied by coordinates and a date stamp from 8 months ago. The location code doesn't match any standard airport abbreviation he knows. Below it, in small print, are letters and numbers that look more like military grid references than immigration markers. Mike's training kicks in immediately, but this goes beyond anything covered in his standard protocols. He flips to the next page, hoping to find normal vacation stamps that would explain away the anomaly. Instead, he discovers another classified marking, this one from a different date and location entirely. The seal is different too, suggesting involvement with another agency or operation. His hands begin to shake slightly as he continues examining the document. Page after page reveals the same pattern. Official government seals, classified designations, coordinate systems, and date stamps spanning the last 3 years. No tourist visas, no leisure travel indicators. Every single entry appears to be connected to official government business of the highest classification level. The woman stands patiently, seemingly unaware of his growing alarm. She checks her phone casually, glances at the departure board, adjusts her backpack strap. Her behavior remains completely normal, as if she's handed over a standard tourist. Passport filled with stamps from beach resorts and European capitals. But Mike knows he's holding something that shouldn't exist in civilian hands. The implications hit him all at once. This isn't a mistake or forgery. The seals are too sophisticated, the paper quality too precise, the official markings too detailed for any counterfeiting operation. These are genuine government stamps, the kind reserved for intelligence operatives, military personnel, and diplomatic staff operating in classified environments. Yet the woman holding this passport appeared to be nothing more than a tired traveler, trying to catch a flight to Germany. Mike's protocol training screams at him to call his supervisor immediately, but something else holds him back. The woman's calm demeanor, the way she seems completely comfortable with the situation, suggests she knows exactly what her passport contains. She's not surprised by his reaction because she expected it. This isn't her first time going through this process. His mind races through possibilities, each more unsettling than the last. Who is Sarah Michelle Chen, and why does her passport read like a classified operations manual disguised as travel documentation? The classified markings tell a story that doesn't match her appearance. The first seal shows coordinates placing her in Afghanistan during a particularly volatile period last year. The operation code suggests involvement with intelligence gathering in active combat zones. Another stamp indicates presence in Syria during a time when officially no American operatives were supposed to be in the region. A third marking places her in North Korea with a classification level that Mike's security clearance isn't high enough to fully understand. Each entry represents not just travel, but active participation in operations that exist in the shadows of international relations. The dates align with major geopolitical events that made international headlines. But from the civilian side, no one knew Americans were involved directly. Yet here's proof, stamped in an ordinary-looking woman's passport, that someone was there, doing something important enough to warrant the highest levels of classification. Mike realizes he's not just looking at travel documentation. He's holding evidence of ghost operations that officially never happened. The woman finally speaks, her voice calm and professional. "Is there a problem with my documentation?" she asks, her tone suggesting she's been through this before. Mike notices her accent is neutral American, but there are subtle inflections that suggest linguistic training. Her English is perfect, but it carries the slight precision of someone who speaks multiple languages fluently. She maintains eye contact without appearing aggressive or defensive. Everything about her demeanor suggests complete confidence in the validity of her documents, despite their impossible nature. "I'm running a bit late for my connection," she adds, glancing at her watch with practiced casualness. The gesture seems genuine, but Mike catches something else in her movement. The way she positions herself allows her to monitor both his reactions and the activity around the checkpoint simultaneously. She's aware of everyone within a 30-foot radius without appearing to look at them directly. This isn't paranoia or anxiety. It's professional situational awareness trained into someone over years of high-stakes work. Mike makes a decision that will change everything. Instead of calling his supervisor immediately, he steps closer and lowers his voice. "Ma'am, I need to ask you about these markings in your passport," he whispers, hoping to avoid attracting attention from other passengers or security personnel. The woman's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in her eyes, a flicker of assessment, as if she's evaluating whether Mike represents a threat or an opportunity. "Those markings," she replies quietly, "are above your clearance level to discuss. I suggest you process my departure normally and allow me to continue to my gate." Her response confirms his worst fears. She knows exactly what her passport contains. She knows the implications, and she's giving him an opportunity to pretend he never saw anything unusual. But Mike can't unsee what he's discovered. This woman has been involved in classified operations at the highest levels of government secrecy, and somehow she's traveling through commercial aviation as if she's an ordinary civilian. The tension escalates when Mike notices movement in his peripheral vision. Two men in dark suits are approaching the checkpoint, walking with the purposeful stride of federal agents. They're not airport security or local law enforcement. Their bearing, their coordinated movement, their focus on his station specifically, indicates they're here for one reason: the woman standing in front of him. She notices them too, and for the first time, her composed facade shows a crack. Not fear, but calculation. She's running scenarios, evaluating options, preparing for multiple contingencies simultaneously. "Agent Rodriguez," one of the suited men calls out, using Mike's full title despite never having met him before. This confirms they've been monitoring the situation, possibly through security cameras or other surveillance methods. The lead agent approaches with credentials already visible, but Mike notices the woman doesn't seem surprised by their arrival. In fact, she appears to be relieved, as if their presence solves a problem rather than creating one. The lead agent identifies himself as Special Agent Thomas Walsh from an agency Mike doesn't recognize. His credentials look official, but the department name is unfamiliar, and the badge design differs from standard federal agencies. Walsh speaks directly to the woman, ignoring Mike entirely. "Ms. Chen, we need to discuss your travel plans." He states with authority that suggests this isn't a request. The woman nods acknowledgement, but doesn't appear intimidated. My flight departs in 45 minutes, she responds matter-of-factly. Will this take long? Her question carries an undertone, suggesting she has places to be and people waiting for her, regardless of what these agents want to discuss. Walsh exchanges a look with his partner, and Mike realizes he's witnessing a conversation that operates on multiple levels of meaning. These people know each other, or at least know about each other. This isn't a random encounter or surprise. Investigation. It's a planned interaction disguised as routine security screening. The second agent takes Mike aside while Walsh continues speaking with the woman. Agent Rodriguez, you've stumbled onto something that requires immediate classification, he explains, in a tone that's both friendly and threatening. The documents you've examined are part of an ongoing operation that involves national security interests at the highest level. Mike feels his world shifting as the agent continues. The woman you've been processing is a valuable asset to the United States government. Her travel documentation is legitimate, but it exists outside normal civilian channels for obvious reasons. The agent pauses, letting the implications sink in. What you've seen today never happened. Ms. Chen was processed normally, received a standard departure stamp, and continued to her gate without incident. Any deviation from this narrative could compromise operations that protect American interests globally. Mike understands he's being told to forget everything he's witnessed, but he also realizes he's been given insight into a world that most people don't know exists. Meanwhile, Walsh and the woman continue their quiet conversation. Mike can't hear the details, but their body language tells a story of professional collaboration rather than interrogation. They're discussing logistics, timing, coordination. Walsh checks his watch, glances at the departure boards, and nods toward the security checkpoint exit. The woman responds with what appears to be confirmation or agreement. Whatever operation she's part of, it's continuing as planned despite this interruption. Walsh signals his partner, who immediately returns to Mike with final instructions. Process her departure normally, the second agent repeats. Standard stamp, standard procedure, standard paperwork. Nothing unusual happened here today. He hands Mike a business card with only a phone number printed on it. If anyone asks questions about this interaction, you call that number immediately. Do not discuss this incident with supervisors, colleagues, or family members. This is a matter of national security that requires absolute discretion. Sarah Chen approaches Mike's station again as the agents step back to observe. Her passport is still open to the page with classified markings, but now Mike understands he's supposed to ignore what he's seeing. He stamps her departure on a clean page, processes her boarding pass, and hands back her documents with professional courtesy. Have a safe flight, he manages to say, his voice steady despite everything he's learned. She smiles genuinely for the first time during the entire interaction. Thank you for your service, she replies, but the phrase carries weight beyond polite formality. She's acknowledging his discretion, his professionalism, his willingness to protect something larger than routine airport security. As she walks toward the departure gates, Mike watches her merge seamlessly into the crowd of ordinary travelers. Within moments, she's indistinguishable from any other passenger heading to an international flight. The agents linger just long enough to ensure Mike understands the gravity of the situation. Walsh approaches one final time with additional context that changes everything Mike thought he knew about the encounter. Agent Rodriguez. Ms. Chen has spent the last 5 years preventing 3 major terrorist attacks on American soil. He reveals quietly. Her work has saved thousands of lives, but it requires her to operate in the shadows, using documentation that reflects the true nature of her service. Mike feels the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders as Walsh continues. The passport you examined represents successful missions in some of the most dangerous places on Earth. Each stamp marks another victory against threats most Americans will never know existed. The agent pauses, gauging Mike's reaction. What you witnessed today wasn't a security breach or protocol violation. It was proof that someone is willing to sacrifice a normal life to keep the rest of us safe. As Mike processes this revelation, he realizes the woman's tired appearance takes on new meaning. Those dark circles under her eyes weren't from a long flight or late night studying. They were from months of operating in hostile environments where sleep was a luxury and safety was never guaranteed. Her casual clothing wasn't the result of poor fashion choices or limited budget. It was carefully selected camouflage designed to help her blend into any environment without attracting attention. Even her broken suitcase wheel served a purpose, making her appear like any other budget-conscious traveler dealing with worn luggage rather than a professional operative moving between classified assignments. Every detail of her appearance had been calculated to create the perfect cover for someone whose real job required invisibility. Mike begins to understand that he hasn't just met an extraordinary individual. He's encountered someone whose entire existence is dedicated to protecting others while remaining completely anonymous. The final revelation comes when Walsh shows Mike a classified briefing document that explains Sarah Chen's true role in American intelligence operations. She's not just an operative, she's a coordinator responsible for managing human assets across multiple hostile territories simultaneously. Her passport stamps represent successful extractions, intelligence-gathering missions, and counter-terrorism operations that prevented attacks on civilian populations worldwide. The Frankfurt flight she's about to board isn't a vacation or business trip. It's the first leg of a journey that will take her to another classified location where American interests need protection. Her tired appearance results from completing one mission and preparing immediately for the next with no rest period or normal life in between. Walsh emphasizes that fewer than 50 people in the entire government know her true identity and role. Mike has become part of an extremely exclusive group, entrusted with protecting someone whose work protects everyone else. Mike watches through the security checkpoint windows as Sarah Chen's flight begins boarding. She's standing in line with business travelers and tourists, checking her phone and adjusting her backpack like any other passenger. But now he knows that phone contains encrypted communication systems, linking her to intelligence networks worldwide. Her backpack holds equipment designed for survival in hostile environments rather than typical travel accessories. Even her choice to fly business class serves operational purposes, providing access to airport lounges where secure communications can be maintained and emergency support can be arranged if necessary. As her boarding group is called, she shows her ticket to the gate agent and disappears down the jetway. To everyone else in the terminal, she's just another forgettable passenger. To Mike, she's become a symbol of the invisible heroes who sacrifice everything to protect American security while remaining completely unknown to the people they serve. The agents prepare to leave, but Walsh has one final message for Mike that will stay with him forever. Agent Rodriguez, what happened here today represents the highest form of patriotic service, he states with obvious respect for Sarah Chen's sacrifice. Most Americans serve their country in visible ways: military, service, law enforcement, public safety, elected office. They receive recognition, benefits, public appreciation for their contributions. Walsh pauses, looking toward the departure gate where Sarah disappeared. Ms. Chen serves in a way that requires giving up recognition, normal relationships, personal safety, and even basic human connections. She can never tell anyone what she does, where she's been, or why her work matters. She exists in a world where success means no one ever knows she was there. Mike feels the profound weight of this sacrifice as Walsh concludes. The passport you saw today isn't just documentation. It's proof that someone is willing to live completely in the shadows so the rest of us can live safely in the light.